We speak to Zolani Masoleng, who's General Secretary at NEHAWU, to expand on the conversation. A very good evening to you, Zolani. Thank you so much for your time. I mean, we've just listened to the employer speaking about how the organization has no plan to retrench workers. A 13th check won't be taken away. What has brought you to Downing Tools?
Good evening, Paul, and good evening to all the listeners at home. Just a correction, I am the Regional Secretary of NEHAWU here in Tshwane, not necessarily the General Secretary. Look, the reasons why we're on the streets, it's mainly based on two. The first one is that we are of the view that the manner in which the employer has engaged in the wage negotiations, they've actually undermined and attacked collective bargaining. And this is as a result of the fact that we have started negotiating in July, and from July, since then, they've been on zero up until now, November, which is 5 months later. So the employer has refused to table anything in the bargaining unit in terms of salary negotiations, and they've been unable also to move on terms and conditions of service. And we went to the CCMA to try to get them to facilitate and conciliate the dispute, but that did not succeed. And the CCMA gave us a certificate of non-resolution in September. And even in September, as we are having a certificate of non-resolutions that allowed us to go to strike, we did not use it. We kept on engaging and saying, can we resume talks so that we can come to your senses and we find a mutually beneficial agreement? They refused. So we are only striking almost a month later when we received the certificate to strike, which really is unheard of. The second reason is what we believe is the attack on workers' conditions of service and livelihood. While we were still engaged in that impasse, we stumbled over a document that was signed by the Chief Operating Officer, one Thomas Matsive of some sort. And that document was a direct attack to everything that we have won over the years as the workers. It actually calls for freezing of wages. It calls for freezing of vacant position. It calls for freezing of bonuses, that there should be no 13th check, no performance bonuses, and that long-serving award should not be given. It also calls for the legal review of all agreements that we have signed for as far back as 2010 and 2011, under the guise that some of them might be unlawful or even unaffordable. So they are looking at ways to even reject the very things that we agreed on.
Zolani, are you saying that it doesn't matter that they are saying at this point, speaking to my colleague Katlego Logodi, that they have not adopted the recommendations contained in that document? Are you saying that's not good enough?
Their denial, or it's people who have been caught, like somebody who has been caught stealing. You catch a child, you said, no, I caught you stealing a sweet, and they said, no, I was just playing with it.
Yeah.
So the net effect of that is that these are people that loaded their gun. They put on bullets on the magazine, they put it on the gun, and then when they were firing at us, the gun jammed. That's the analogy we want to give you. So the fact that the gun jammed, it does not mean that the intention to kill is no longer there. Let me tell you why it's that way. Almost everything in that document, even if it has not been adopted, they are implementing it. That document called for them not to give increases, and they are not giving any increases. As we are sitting here with you, they have not offered anything since July. That document called for zero. And all of these bonuses, they say they have not paid it. So as much as they claim that they have not implemented it, it's a recommendation. But in reality, their behavior and everything they are doing is exactly in line with that document. And the fact that the Chief Operating Officer has signed the document and it was leaked to us, and also even there, it even makes recommendation that the organizational restructure can only be solved through retrenchments as the only options that can be done. So we don't believe them at all, what they are saying. The practice on the ground is that everything they are doing is exactly what is contained in that document.
Zolani, let me ask you this. I know you've made mention of an entire 5-month protest, which essentially brought you to this point where you're out in the streets just wanting to be heard. But what would you say to one who would perhaps be of the view that this was strategic and you're only deciding to go out on the streets now at a time where the impact will be detrimental? We're in the middle of a food contamination crisis as a country, and the inspectors' withdrawal of services is going to have a massive impact.
The employer is all to blame for that. You see, because we allowed space for engagement. There is nobody who can negotiate for 5 months for zero. Even before we could go to the CCMA, we negotiated for zero. We've been on zero from July, August, and we only in September went to CCMA. And even after September, we have been saying to them, guys, let's sit down, let's find a solution, and they have not. So what triggered this action more than the issue of the spaza shops and everything? It's when this document was leaked to us. Then it gave us context to say, okay, the employer was behaving the way it was behaving because of this document, because everything they've been doing, it's exactly contained in that document. And therefore, there is no way we are going to sit there like lambs and allow them to destroy us while we see this document. So it had very little to do with us timing our strike in line with that. If anything, they are reckless in a sense that they've been unable to resolve something for so many months. As a result of that, as a result of their action, it now will have an impact on the public.
So in terms of the talks and when you're going to be reaching an agreement, my understanding is that the employer is offering 0% as you ask for your percentage. What is the way forward?
We are saying we demand 8%, but zero is a hell no. We are never going to accept zero, not today, not tomorrow. We want them to engage with us in good faith. And we know that we go to negotiations with an understanding that it's a give and take. And if they can be able to put a decent offer, we can be able at least to consider it as the workers. We are not going there rigid. And also, if they are able to deal with some of the issues that are contentious, including the gentleman who wrote this document, if they say that they disown this document, they disown it purely because of we found it. If we did not find this document, they will have surprised us and hit us with a shocker. And the law says as soon as you contemplate, you consult. So you can see in this document, it has gone even beyond the contemplation. So we are ready to engage. We are prepared to compromise where there is a need to compromise. But that can happen while this chap who is responsible for this document, that call for the renewal and also for the attack of the gains that we've gained throughout the years, is still entangled in this issue. Our view is that he must be suspended, he must be put aside, and that the acting CEO of the organization must prioritize the organization over the individual. And not so long ago, to show the problematic nature of this chap, he almost hit one of our workers with his car as we were striking an hour before a meeting with management.
So who exactly are you talking about, Zolani?
We are talking one Thomas, the chief operating officer of NRCS. He almost hit with his car one of our members who was striking out of anger, and he came to the gate speeding. And we said, but we can't be engaging with somebody like that. And this is the very same person also who's at the heart of all the problems we're having at NRCS. Suspend him, investigate all his shenanigans, while the organization may continue to engage on substantive issues that will assist us to move forward. And we have presented a very solid case for them to look at, and we are more than prepared at any time, even if they can wake us tonight at 12 in the early hours of the morning. We will be ready to negotiate to find a solution. But we can't negotiate with people who are backstabbing us, who are engaging with us in bad faith, who are plotting while we are negotiating, they are plotting to retrench us. they are plotting to give us zero wage increases, and there is nothing that they are saying in good faith. So that's really what's at the heart of this entire problem.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening, wrapping up that conversation with Zolani Masoleng, who is the Tshwane Regional Secretary of NEHAWU.